بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله السلام عليك يا خيرة الله وابن خيرته السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين الرسول المسدد المصطفى الأمجد أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أرواحنا له فداء أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون صدق الله العلي العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and Jummah Mubarak. Today is the 7th of Safar and the birthday of Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi afdhalu salatu wassalam. Even as it is the birthday of Imam Musa Kadhim, we still are commemorating the aftermath of Karbala, the imprisonment of Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi afdhalu salatu wassalam, and the women and children of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Inshallah, we will benefit from one of the words of wisdom of Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salatu wassalam. In this statement that Imam Musa Kadhim made to one of his companions, he said, "An-nasu ala arba'ati asnaf," that people are of four types. Imam, he is pointing out these four types that perhaps we can examine ourselves and inshallah improve upon ourselves. The first group, he says, is jahilun mutaraddin mu'anikun lihawa, is the benighted person who is engulfed in his own whim. In other words, this person does not move forward based upon knowledge and understanding. The example of such individuals are like the Khawarij. And we find those Khawarij even during the time of Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida alayhi salatu wasalam, where one of them had poisoned a knife and he hid it among his clothing, stating that he would go forth to Ali ibn Musa Rida alayhi salatu wasalam and question him about his position in the government of Ma'mun. And the Khawarij, as we know that even during the time of Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, they did not accept the rightful Khilafah of Imam Ali or of Muawiyah, nor did they say either one of them was in the wrong. They said they are both right and they are both wrong, rather than taking the time to truly examine who is with truth and who is without, which one is on the right path and which one is not. But clearly during the time of Ma'mun, they felt that Ma'mun was someone who was not just and upright. So they were baffled at how that Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida alayhi salatu wasalam was now appointed a position in the government of Ma'mun. So this Kharij, this individual among the Khawarij, with his poisoned dagger, he went close to Imam Rida, and he had vowed to his companions that if he does not get a satisfactory answer from Imam Rida, he will in this world of him. In other words, he would kill the Imam. So when he questioned Imam Rida alayhi salam about his position, Imam Rida said that he would answer only if he took the dagger, poisonous dagger, out of his cloth, and then he would destroy it and he would put it aside. So this person among the Khawarij, he decided that he would do that. He was kind of surprised that Imam Rida knew that this poisonous dagger was with him. So he took it out, he put it aside, he destroyed it. At that point, Imam Rida alayhi salam, he proceeded to answer. He said that, who do you think is not a believer? Was it the pharaohs of Misr, of Egypt, or the government of Ma'mun? And Imam Rida, he was referring to the Pharaoh during the time of Yusuf alayhi salam. So the person among the Khawarij, he answers, he says, of course, the Pharaoh during the time of Yusuf, they did not have any belief. They were not monotheists. They did not believe in one God. So Imam Rida, he responded, he says that, well, Yusuf, a prophet of Allah, asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or asked the Pharaoh at that time, he says that, well, make me the treasurer. And of course, Yusuf, he started as a treasurer, and then his position went up from there. But nonetheless, Imam Rida said he was sitting and he was working with the Pharaoh of that time. He says, and this is a prophet of Allah. He says, I am the son of Rasulullah, and I am here by force. That Ma'mun, he brought me here by force, that if I did not come, then he would have put more pressure on the believers, would have been killing more of the believers. So I came here based on choice, based on force. So which one is better? Which one is more correct? To come here by force, as I did, in order to spare the oppression of the ummah, of the believers? Or Yusuf, was that correct as well? So if the Prophet of Allah, that he by choice went into that position in order to make things better for the nation, for people, and me coming here by force in order to make things better for people, then he says that this is something which is noble and permitted. So this person from among the Khawarij, he left and he went on. He received that satisfactory answer from Imam Rida alayhi salatu wasalam. So among that first group of people that Imam Musa Kadhim, he says that there is that type who is jahilun, mutaraddin, mu'anikun li hawa, a person who is benighted, ignorant, who is just engulfed in his own whim, and that is what makes him ignorant or benighted. Second type of person that Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi wasallam points out is the abidun متقون كلما ازداد عبادة ازداد كبرا. He says, it is that servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who is mutaqawwan, who is strong in his ibadah, in other words, appearing to be muttaqi, appearing to be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, appearing to be someone who is pious. However, that person, as his ibadah and his worship increases, as he does more salat, as he does more fasting, then that person's arrogance also increases. In other words, that person's ibadah is not benefiting them the way it should. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, that He has not created jinn or mankind except that they worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The understanding of this, as Imam Sadiq alayhi wasallam, he gives commentary of, he says, إِلَّا لِيَعْرِفُونَ, in order that they may know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, gain ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here the Imam is pointing out the true nature of ibadah, that when a person engages in ibadah and worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that should increase their ma'rifah, an understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not arrogance. Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi wasalam, he points this out in his commentary or statement regarding the takbir that is in the adhan. And this happened in the court of Yazid, when the Imam and the captives, they were in the court of Yazid, and Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi wasalam, he began to speak, and Yazid wanted to cut him off by having the mu'adhin call the adhan. Imam Zain al-Abidin, as soon as the mu'adhin said Allahu Akbar, the Imam stated, "Kabbarta shay'an la shay'a akbar minhu." He says that you have exalted a being that there is no being greater than it, greater than him, greater than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in other words, also the Imam is pointing out that the only being that has a right to have this kibr and kibriya is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore, when we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that worship should not instill within us kibr, arrogance, but rather it should instill within us humbleness. The third type of person that Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi wasalam points out in his statement, he says, "عالم يريد أن يوطأ عقباه ويحب محمدة الناس." He says, is that scholar, that erudite who loves to have following. He wants people to follow him or her. And in addition to that, he or she loves the praises of people. And this alimun is not simply a scholar of religion. Yes, it may include and encompass a scholar of religion, but a scholar in any field, whether a person is an engineer, whether a person is a doctor, a scientist, mathematician, or whatever. That if they gain knowledge, and they have that knowledge, and they want people to praise them for that knowledge, and they want people to follow them, simply because they feel that they are smarter than all the others, then that person has not understood the responsibility of knowledge. Having knowledge and using that knowledge to benefit humanity is what is expected. That if someone knows something, then they should deliver that knowledge. This is the zakat of knowledge, as the Prophet, he says. And also as the Ahlul Bayt, they say that everything has zakat, and the zakat of knowledge is to teach, is to help others understand what they have not understood. And not to take that knowledge and have that knowledge to make others feel that they should praise you or they should follow you. One of the very interesting stories, but also eye-opening stories, is that of Ayatollah Muhammad Reza Golpaygani, rahmatullah alayh. He tells a story of one of his study partners in the Hawza. Now, Ayatollah Golpaygani, Sayyid Muhammad Reza Golpaygani, he became among our great maraji. And so one of his study partners at the time of his death, Ayatollah Golpaygani went to visit him and had asked him to recite the Shahadatain at the death. And this is what's recommended for a person in that state where they are about to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They should recite the Shahadatain. The mu'mineen, mu'minat who visits that person in that state should encourage them to recite the Shahadatain. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And this is exactly what Ayatollah Golpaygani did. And so Ayatollah Golpaygani in the story said that this person, this scholar, was having trouble. And he wanted to ask Golpaygani, Ayatollah Golpaygani, one thing. He says that, how come you became the marja and not me? That in our time that we would study together, there were many issues where you were not able to resolve, but I was able to resolve them and to help you understand that. And Ayatollah Golpaygani, he says, yes, that is true. He says, however, Ayatollah Golpaygani says, I never wanted to have a following or people to follow me. He said, but that responsibility was placed upon my shoulders. At that point, when it was placed upon my shoulders, then I had to serve the people. I had to make sure that when I am giving them the rulings and the fatawas, that I am giving them the right ruling and right fatawa. It forced him to do extra studies or longer studies, or to examine each and every issue in more detail. But Ayatollah Muhammad Reza Gobagani, rahmatullah alayh, he says, this is not something that I sought after, this is not something I wanted, but when the responsibility came upon my shoulder to do so, then I took it as a responsibility and a duty. So this is a lesson for us, that when we have knowledge, when we have understanding, it is a responsibility. It's a responsibility to reach back and to help others understand who do not understand, and to serve humanity, not to take it in order to gain a following or to hear the praises of others. The fourth group that Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi salatu wasalam points out, he says, عارف على طريق الحق يحب القيام به فهذا عاجز أو مغلوب. Imam Musa Kadhim, he says, the fourth group is someone who has ma'rifah, an arif, someone who knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, someone who has ma'rifat of the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, someone who has ma'rifah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Ali Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. So this person has that ma'rifah and understanding of Allah, the Prophet, and his Ahlul Bayt. They're on this path of truth. وَيُحِبُّ الْقِيَامَ بِهِ, and they want to establish and raise the banner of this truth, of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. وَهُوَ عَاجِزٌ أَوْ مَغْلُوبٌ. However, that person is not able to, perhaps because of their own limitations or what their ability is or their circumstances, or perhaps maghlubun, that the social political atmosphere is not conducive for them to do so. For example, when we look at the time of Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salatu, after the events of Karbala, and when the Ahlul Bayt, they returned back to Medina under a lot of political and social scrutiny, Imam Zayn al-Abidin was not able to rise up in a revolution like his father, Imam Hussein alayhi salatu, nor was he able to teach openly like his grandson, Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salatu. So Imam Zayn al-Abidin, he had to teach through his actions and through his dua. When we look at this example, as Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi salatu also states about this last group, this fourth group, the arifun ala tariq al-haq, the one who has clear and good and deep understanding, and he's on the path of truth. Imam Zayn al-Abidin, Imam Musa Kadhim says, فَهَذَا أَمْثَلُ أَهْلِ زَمَانِكِ. He says, this is the most exemplary person in your time. وَأَرْجَحُهُمْ عَقْلًا, and the most intellectual and smartest person of your time. So we see someone like Imam Zayn al-Abidin, and of course all of the Ahlul Bayt, they are the most exemplary people of their time and the most rational people of their time. But when we see that how they were able to guide the ummah according to the circumstances of their time, they teach us a very great and valuable lesson. That when we are, insha'Allah, arifun ala tariq al-haq, that we are, and hopefully we are, among those individuals who have understanding, those individuals who have understanding and who are on the path of truth, that may we be the most exemplary people of our time, the most rational people of our time, and understand how to raise the banner of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah in our own time. How to show and present the truth, whether it's through our actions, through our statements, or whatever we do, through our interactions, then we should be among those folks. We should be like Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. But that requires us to understand the seerah, the life, and the ethos of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. And may we continue to examine the lives of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad even beyond the Muharram and Safar months. Continue to learn the lessons of Karbala and to learn every lesson that we can from the lives of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hasten the reappearance of Imam Zaman, make us among his helpers and companions and those who sacrifice our lives for him. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our sins, to cover our shortcomings, and to cure those who are ill among our friends and family members, and to grant us our needs and have mercy upon our deceased ones. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم اغفر ذنوبنا واستر عيوبنا وقضي حوائجنا واشف مرضانا وارحم أمواتنا وعجل فرج مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان واجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره والمستشهدين بين يديه وتحت لواء بحق محمد وآله الطاهرين.
السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين.